I think we could.
I would just ask if everyone could go on mute. If you're not on mute yet, please go on mute if you're not speaking. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Today is April 30th, 2020. Is there a motion to adopt the minutes for the February 13th, 2020 meeting?
Yes.
Motion.
Does anyone have any corrections? Okay.
Sorry, could I just get the names for who's approving the minutes so I can make a note?
Yeah, so when we call for a vote to approve, I think people should state their names.
So for the people who approve the minutes, can you please state your name and then say yes, no, or abstain?
I abstain because I don't think I went to that meeting.
Okay.
I also fall in that category.
Who was that who just spoke?
Tom. This is Tom Spetner.
Okay.
But I think I'm listed as being a participant, even though I wasn't there.
Okay, so that's fine.
This is Elizabeth Nauer. I think I need to abstain because when I was looking through the materials this morning, I could not find the minutes. I didn't find the email that contained
They're
the.
actually on the website. They're on the Oath website because I have them in front of me. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
So we have 3 abstentions.
I'm abstaining because I didn't have an opportunity to read them. I apologize.
Okay.
Nicholas, this is Madeline LaGloria from Sanitation. I vote in favor of adoption.
Okay. Others who are in
This is
favor of
Joseph-
adopting the minutes?
Joseph Gregory from the fire department. We approve the minutes.
Okay, thanks.
Matt Smith, NYPD, yes.
Okay. Got it.
Jared Whittington, appointed member, yes.
Thanks. Okay. Anyone else? So far, I've got 4 names for yes, so we're missing some people then. Is Russ or Shamanda here?
I don't know why this keeps muting. Can you hear me,
Yes.
Nicholas? Yeah, okay,
Yes,
Russ
yes.
Picciunes from DEP votes yes.
Right. Okay. So we've got 5 yeses, I count. Is Douglas Swan here? No. And
Not on
Shamanda,
yet.
right, and Shamanda is still not here. So,
You can't hear Shamanda. She said she's talking, but you can't hear her.
Shamanda, are you,
Hello?
yes,
Okay, we hear you.
Good morning, everybody. Shamanda Graham, Department of Buildings. I vote yes.
okay, thanks.
Morning, Shamanda.
Good morning.
So I've got 6 yeses. Is
How many abstentions do you have?
3 abstentions.
We're good.
So Olga, that's sufficient?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so moving on, the next item on the agenda is Oath ECB's proposed rule, an amendment permitting financial hardship waivers for respondents facing restitution penalties by Nick Dietz.
Hey, hi, my name is Nick Dietz. I'm an assistant general counsel at Oath. The rule we are proposing today would amend 48 RCNY 6-19A on filing an appeal and would repeal part of 48 RCNY 6-19B on financial hardship. This proposed rule has been certified by the Law Department and the Mayor's Office of Operations. The rule would enable all respondents who are facing financial hardship to obtain financial hardship waivers when they appeal decisions of hearing officers. So there are three types of sanctions a hearing officer can issue. A penalty, which can be monetary or non-monetary, such as community service or the loss of a license. A fine, which is a monetary penalty, and restitution, which is payment to third-party claimants. Now, currently, if a respondent wants to appeal a ruling, they must first pay the full judgment. But if the respondent can demonstrate financial hardship, they can obtain a waiver and appeal the decision without paying first. However, as it stands now, this financial hardship exception only applies to respondents who are ordered to pay a fine or a penalty, and does not apply to respondents who are ordered to pay restitution, even if they are suffering for financial hardship. So our proposed rule would repeal that exclusion so that respondents who are ordered to pay restitution can also seek financial hardship waivers, just like respondents who are ordered to pay fines and penalties. So that's the rule.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yeah, just for my own information, what constitutes financial hardship?
Do you want me to answer that?
I mean, I had a companion question, which is just it says whatever the ALJ says is a hardship, and they have the sole discretion inside the text of the rule. But do we have any, just to put some flesh on Jorge's question, do we have any, thematic texture about how that really, a rubric for what an ALJ would consider? Like,
yes,
UI payments, for example, is that per se relevant, or a way make one more or less eligible for a waiver? That's something.
It's not the ALJs or the hearing officers who make the determination. It's actually from Peter's unit, appeals unit generally.
I thought the rule said something about the ALJ. I apologize.
Yeah, but the way it happens is that the appeals unit normally makes that determination, and we ask, and the appeals unit, and I'm going to ask Peter to give more details. The appeals unit actually asks for proof of financial hardship. It can be a tax return. It can be proof of receiving public assistance or unemployment or something like that. And an actual determination based on figures is made.
So that's interesting, because it's a little different than what the statute suggests. And it also, I'm questioning, or just kick it around because we're just here meeting, do we need a bit of a rubric? Is it just an opinion,
Please be clear. Tell me what is it you're asking?
I just don't understand if we have like established criteria that we routinely rely upon, or we just look at whatever we get submitted and make our minds up. I just am curious about, like, if there's, I just don't understand the process, I suppose, is a higher level way of saying it.
Is there written guidance for
That's my question.
Peter's unit to, this is what you do for someone who applies for financial hardship? You have to submit X, Y, and Z. Something written down more formal.
Right. So you do need to submit documentation. That is formal. What the documentation is more open, but it is going to be something that shows an inability to pay pending the appeal. We generally would look at tax returns, or, as Olga said, a documentation that shows somebody's on public assistance. There is no strict mathematical formula for it. It does depend on the type of fine that's being imposed, as well as the income. For a $100 sanitation ticket, somebody would have to show greater financial need than a Department of Buildings violation that imposes a $1,000 penalty, or $10,000, or in the case of illegal occupancy, $50,000. So it is kind of a rolling thing. We do try to be fairly generous with it. If somebody asks for it, it is generally granted, as long as they're submitting documentation that shows their own financial hardship. most rejections happen because the respondent might be, say, a corporation, and they submit individual tax returns. We would then ask for the corporation's tax returns. That's really the issue that we run into, is documentation that matches the individual. Right now,
My understanding, Peter, is this rule is just about making our rules more consistent, because right now there's sort of an arbitrary inconsistency.
right now, yeah, so our rules allow financial hardship, the waiver pending appeal of monetary penalties. You don't need to pay that in advance, but for DCA cases, restitution can be imposed. Restitution is different than a monetary penalty. That is money that goes towards the complainant in that case, right? The contractor who who did shoddy work will need to pay back a complainant who initially filed a complaint with DCA. That can run into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. We've had that. And that DCA contractor doesn't have that money to put up right away. And the rule as it stands right now says restitution cannot be waived pending appeal. So they need to put it up. We cannot take an appeal if they don't put up hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we've run into several contractors who therefore cannot appeal. We want to be able to allow them to appeal. That's really the only change that's happening here, is to allow more appeals than we've been getting.
Can I ask a question? This is Elizabeth Nauer. Does this even apply to any violations that are returnable to the Environmental Control Board, or is it just?
Actually, no, it does not.
No, it does not.
So why do we need to vote on this rule change? Just because of the sort of coherent oath rules now? Okay, so it really doesn't apply to anything that could come before us, because I was a little confused. I had never heard of restitution being ordered in an ECB case. So I was going to ask, when does that happen? I thought there might be like an obscure number of violations. Okay, so it really doesn't apply to our.
Okay. Yeah, any other questions? Peter, were you going to say something?
No, I'm good. Yeah, thank you.
So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the rule. Elizabeth?
Motion.
Thanks.
Could I get names, please, so I can?
We'll call for a vote, and state your name and your vote, please.
Jorge, yes.
Elizabeth Nauer, yes.
Thanks.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Madeline Legori, yes.
Spiccione, yes.
Okay.
Shamanda Graham, yes.
Okay.
Jared Whittington, yes.
Thanks. So I've got 7 yeses. Is there anyone else?
Joseph Gregory, yes, if we didn't get it.
And if you didn't get it, Tom Spetner, yes.
Yeah, I have that. Okay, so then that would be. So now we've got 8 yeses, and
I vote yes. Nick.
is that? Oh, you. Sorry. And no. Do we have any abstentions? I guess that's a no.
You got it? You're good?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Okay, do you want to just, Nick, state the final number, please?
Oh, okay. So we have then 9 votes in favor and none opposing and no abstentions.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
The next item on the agenda is DEP's request for cease and desist orders by Russell Pecunis.
All right, thank you. Good morning. Everybody can hear me?
Yep.
Yes, okay, great. Russell Pecunis with the Bureau of Legal Affairs at the Department of Environmental Protection. For this board meeting, DEP is requesting that the board approve 65 requests for cease and desist orders. In each of these 65 cases, the building owner was ordered by DEP to install the appropriate required backflow prevention devices on their property. In each of these cases, the building owner failed to comply with that order and was then issued a summons for failing to install. And in each of these cases, that summons was adjudicated in violation. And the premises is still not in compliance. Based on that, DEP is asking the board to approve these cease and desist orders. I would note, because of the unusual circumstances, I would just add that we are aware that Oath's clerical staff is not currently in the office, and that the actual issuance and scheduling of these orders will have to wait for that to happen. So we're aware that these probably will not be scheduled until sometime during the summer, at least. When Oath is able to physically issue the orders, that can take place.
Can I ask a question, Elizabeth Nauer? So if Oath is able to issue the orders at some point, but the offices are still closed for hearings, what would be the process then? There would be an order out there, but the respondent wouldn't be able to
all cease and desist hearings right now, with Oath's hearing offices being closed, are going to be rescheduled until sometime, I'm assuming, in at least July or August. These will not be scheduled, I think it's safe to say, until Oath's hearing operations are able to do live hearings again. These are not going to be done as remote hearings. These will be live hearings that will take place in, I don't know, August, September.
So, just to clarify, what you're saying is the cease and desist orders will not be issued until the hearings can be scheduled.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because the order has a date on it for them to come in. So the order won't be issued until there is a date that they will be directed to come in, and Oath will be open for live hearings at that time, whenever it is. So. Yeah, we basically, we just did not want to skip a board meeting and not have any orders approved, even though we realize the orders will not go out for some time.
Any questions? I'd ask for a motion to approve the orders.
Motion.
Thank you. Call for a vote.
Martinez, yes.
Joseph Gregory.
Nauer, yes. Sorry.
Yes. Okay, I think I missed.
Madeline Legore, yes.
Okay.
Matt Smith, yes.
Shamanda Graham, yes.
Tom Spetner, yes.
Russ
Yes.
Picuni's, yes.
Joni Clutter, yes.
So I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 8 yeses. Did I miss?
Any abstentions? Any opposed?
Would it make sense to maybe do a roll call of the board members? That way we don't miss anyone.
I think when I spoke, someone spoke at the same time as me, but I couldn't tell who it was.
I would agree, or just start with the no's and the abstentions anyway, because these are routine typically.
Oh, okay, I can read through. So we have Joni Kletter was a yes, Matthew Smith was a yes, Jorge Martinez was a yes, Madeline Ligori, yes, Russ Pecunis, yes, Shamanda Graham, yes, Tom Spetner, yes, Elizabeth Knauer, yes.
Joseph did you say Joseph Gregory?
Oh, no, I didn't. Sorry.
Okay, Joseph Gregory is a yes.
And Jared Whittington, yes, also.
Oh, sorry. Then we did that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 yeses. 0 no's, 0 abstentions.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss our new decisions in the cases listed in the judicial report. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd ask that people who are not employed by oath can either go out of the call, or I can place you in a waiting room if you want to come back in when we're done. Let's see.
Morning, Timothy.
Good morning, everyone. Hello.
Good morning.
So we'll talk
Good morning.
about a case. Richard.
Are there any additional questions or comments? No. Okay. The date of the next board meeting is what, Peter?
Actually, I have a question. It's a softball. Like, I mean, just, but like, how's it going? Like, this is weird. You know?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to, say that I hope to meet you all in person soon. I know, obviously, some of you I've met. I haven't had a chance to meet with all of you, but fortunately, Oath has remained fully operational during this time period. So we immediately contracted with a company called Court Call my first week that I started, which has allowed us to conduct our hearings remotely. And it's been extremely effective. So all parties can be at home and call into a hearing. It's recorded. There are virtual wait rooms. It makes the whole process very easy. I don't know if Amy is still on the call, but she can describe it in a little more detail. And for example, on Thursday, there were over 250 telephonic hearings that were held in our hearings division. So I've just been incredibly impressed with the team in terms of what we've been able to accomplish over the last 6 weeks.
Can I slip in an anecdotal question? Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt, but just anecdotally, do you think the hearings are as good quality as they are in person? Because I just have been reading and sensing myself just like in person is just, 1% better. So do you feel like there's any slippage, or am I just overthinking it?
Well, is Amy on? I don't think we've had many complaints, honestly. And I was surprised myself because I expected to hear complaints from the agencies.
Well, that was the premise of my question, right?
But the sound quality has been very good, and we can also offer webcam hearings as well if needed. There's an opportunity in the trials division with some hearings division cases where we can do video hearings as well, which are one call which involved interpreters. So that was a little bit more challenging, obviously, because there were 8 people who were dialed in a video conference with an interpreter. But they managed to get through the hearing. And
okay, cool.
Again, I haven't heard any complaints.
Tom, can you hear me?
Yes.
Tom, can you hear me? So this is Shamanda Graham from Department of Buildings. Department of Buildings has been participating in these hearings, and I must say I am extremely proud to be a part of this. I mean, it was difficult in the very beginning stages, but as we picked up, it seems like even the respondents are getting used to it. The one thing that that is a major difference is in some cases the hearings take a bit longer. It really depends on the technology capabilities of the respondent as well. But for the most part, this is definitely, as far as I'm concerned, certainly a foreseeable future, maybe not necessarily for all cases, but for cases where it makes sense to do so. Like for me, high volume reps, this is definitely a way that we could go in coordinating and getting some of those heavy hitting respondents off the calendar and off to the side, maybe doing hearings, you know, nonstop all day, opposed to being in the mix. So now, the DOB really likes it.
Well, maybe also I've wondered about this, whether or not we could always have improved the forum a little bit for submissions that are done electronically, because they tend to wind up with these peculiar results where, no one's, participating directly. It's all via email and things. So maybe somebody doesn't know to use the magic words in a sanitation case, for example. So maybe this is a bridge to ameliorating that sort of some of the things that I've not loved about that forum.
How are the hearings conducted where documentary evidence needs to be presented?
So on the DLB and evidence has, can you hear me, Elizabeth? This is Shamanda.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So on the DLB and evidence has somewhat always been an issue because we basically have our evidence attached to the paper summonses. But the plan right now is once we are fully mobile, the evidence will be in the system. So what's happening right now is when the evidence is available and the respondent is capable of accepting it, we will send the evidence to the hearing officer via email, and I believe the hearing officer is facilitating getting it to the respondent so that they can see it. And then once all parties agree that they can see it and they're okay with it, the evidence is submitted as we would normally submit. So, I mean, right now, there's an operational hurdle, but I must say it's really on the DOB end that the bottom line is we're moving to mobile summonses, and once that happens, all the evidence will be in an electronic state at the onset, which makes it very different, and it makes us very much more capable to move the evidence around. But right now, we are not having any major issues as it relates to evidence. And then the great thing, I must say, Commissioner, I want to thank both, because not only are we considering the current environment for the respondent, which, as far as I'm concerned, we just want compliance, they're also considering that as it relates to the city agencies. So because of the current environment, we're not having a hard time getting adjournments or technological issues for the respondent as well. We just simply ask for the adjournment, and that kind of gives us time to gather everything that we need to gather so we can go back at it at the next hearing.
And the respondents can submit documentary evidence through email directly to the hearing officer and the petitioning agency. Is that how it works?
Yes, Elizabeth, this is Kelly Corso. That's correct. They can email the evidence to the hearing officer, and the same, it will go the same way as Jamon with the DOB evidence. The parties will then all be emailed the and look at it. And then it's uploaded into our system.
Okay. So is there a procedure for doing that a certain number of days in advance of the hearing, or does it just happen right before the hearing or during the hearing?
It happens during the hearing.
During the hearing.
During the hearing.
This is Joe Gregory from the Fire Department. Just to let you know, the FDNY has been doing this for quite some time with us. So we kind of, I guess, the old hats at it. It's just been expanded, and it's been working well for us before the pandemic, and it's working well now during the crisis. So it's a great system that's in place.
So I'm glad we didn't have to just adopt new technology on the fly. That's cool. Okay, good.
Great. I'm glad to hear that the agencies are able to work with us on this as we adjust to this new reality.
Yes. So are we going to kick off appeals pretty soon? Is that a natural consequence of all these hearings?
We've still been doing appeals.
Oh, I haven't had to do it in a while. Maybe thank
yeah,
Garrett or whoever.
Yeah, we did cut it back to one panel a month right now. So I do believe you're on for the panel in May, which will be May 21st.
I've been here for months, Peter. I just,
May 21st, you're on for that one.
All right.
I was on a panel and I thought it worked out perfectly.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. Well, the panel that you were on, Elizabeth, some people were still in the office and you did the phone. We did a panel last week where it was WebEx. So we'll be doing the panel in May on WebEx again. So I think, and the staff attorneys will join us on that.
Right. This is Amy. I just wanted to say that the remote hearings are going really well, actually, and I want to thank the agencies for being really helpful in making this all work so smoothly.
Great. Okay. So is the next meeting for ECB June 11th? That's what I have. Okay.
Yes.
June 11th. I'm going to make a motion. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? Thank you.
Motion.
Adjourned. Thanks so much, everybody. I hope to meet you soon.
Thank you.
Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everybody. Stay safe.
All right.
Bye.
All right.